Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the August Board of Education meeting for Cleveland City Schools. We're delighted that you're all here. We're glad to see our new teachers and our retired teachers, and it's always special when we have this many people, and we can't do this in our boardroom, as you well know. Our boardroom's not quite large enough. So we're going to start with a moment of silence, and then we're going to stand to say the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would please just bow your heads and have a moment of silence.
Let us stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board members and audience, I'd like to welcome our student representative tonight, Ms. Arna Patel. She has come to us from Cleveland High School, and I'm looking forward to her being on the board and seeing what she has to offer the board and her wisdom about Cleveland High School students. So thank you for being here and welcome. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
We have a consent agenda. Board, you see it in front of you. Is there any item on the consent agenda you would like to remove? If not, I need a motion to approve.
So approved.
Okay, Charlie made the motion. A second?
Second.
Carolyn, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's quick on that one. Move on to the regular agenda, and we're going to do spotlights, Dr.
We
Biden.
are. So spotlights tonight, we are starting with our board member recognitions. We know that for tonight we have 3 board members that will be having their final board meeting with us, and I think it would be the right thing to do and a great thing to do to just take time to celebrate them and the work that they have accomplished on the board. I know I certainly appreciate it, and I know that you do as well. So really what I'd like to do is give time for board members to have the opportunity to give their thoughts and just kind of open the floor at this time, if that's okay.
Well, I guess I'd like to say how much I'm going to miss the board members that will not be here. I think we've had an outstanding board and we've accomplished a lot, and I just enjoyed so much being on this board with them. And I hope they'll come back and visit us, and be in touch with us and let us know if there's something that we need to be doing or something, any suggestions that they have. I would be glad that all of us would certainly welcome hearing from them. And I want to thank them for their service and for being part of our school board, because I think they've made a wonderful contribution and impression on everyone. Thank you.
I just wanted to and reiterate part of what Peggy said, and thank you sincerely for the time and the energy and the thoughtfulness that you have poured into the school system all these years. We joke that it's more than once a month that we meet, and the hours that you have put in, especially over the years, we can't count the hours that you guys have put in. So thank you so much, and thank you for helping me as a new board member 2 terms ago when I came on. Thank you for helping me learn how the school system works and how the board operates, and making it a smooth transition and helping this to stay an effective board.
I might say that I don't feel like I'm just not only losing board member, but I'm losing friends who come together monthly or weekly, sometimes weekly. I've known Dawn for many years. We go to the same church, and I know her boys. They were friends of mine, and so I've known her for many years. Tom, when I was at Yates, Tom was over at Ross, and so I knew him there. And Charlie, one of his daughters was a teacher of mine at Yates. So it's not only what they have given to the school systems and to the school board, but what they mean as friends, and we're certainly going to miss them. And Dawn, we're going to miss her leadership as far as being chairperson, and she's got more in her little finger than most of us know about all the things that go on with the board. So we're going to miss them. Thank you so much, and I value your friendship.
I'll just say, in line with Carolyn was saying, there's a lot of knowledge in the three of you, and you guys have represented Cleveland City Schools well. Several of you have personally answered endless amounts of calls and questions from me, being the newest member, and I appreciate that. And I'm committed to continuing the great work that you've done.
And I'll add, I appreciate the work. You know, you allowed me to come in as a brand new superintendent. I've never done this job before, and helped me to learn the job and learn expectations and connect with the community, with our staff, and everyone else. And it's been a real learning curve. But here we are 7 years later, and it's been a good ride. And I really have enjoyed 99% of the time working as a superintendent. There's always that 1%, right? But no, it's been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed the opportunity to call on each of you for advice, for just knowledge that you have, knowledge on Cleveland City Schools, on running school board meetings, on dealing with capital issues, budgetary things. So that's been great for me, and you're very much appreciated by all of us, but I think everyone in the room, for the great amount of work and time that you've poured into this. So thank you for being a board member, but going above and beyond in that role as well. To celebrate, we do have just a few little things we want to give you. Dawn, we'll start with you. This is the gavel that you've been able to gavel for a few years now, and we're going to give you that. And also, there's a little plaque that goes with it. I will say there's a case that, well, it just had a bad day getting here. So there's more to this that will come eventually, and we're going to get it repaired and back in good shape again. But we want to give you this part of it tonight, just in recognition of your service and time. And on there, it says, I can read it, in recognition for 27 years of commitment and dedication to Cleveland City Schools, we will be forever grateful for your inspiring motivation, your shared insights, and your gentle guidance. So, thank you very much. We also have for Tom Cloud over here. I've got to make this put it light where I can read this. In grateful appreciation of your dedicated service and commitment 2005 to 2022.
That's right.
Very good. Thank you. Charlie Cogdill here. In grateful appreciation of your outstanding dedication and service 2014 to 2022.
Thank you.
Well, Dr. Dyer, I guess we have to go on with the meeting, huh?
Unless you three
We
would
can't
like
talk
to say
more
anything.
about us.
I'd like to say something.
Okay.
It's been an honor and a privilege to serve Cleveland City Schools. I think it's one of the best school systems in the country, the state for sure, and I will continue to support Cleveland City Schools as long as I'm around.
Tom, can you say that?
16 years ago, Peggy Pesterfield and I talked, and we decided that we wanted to run because, for one reason, we thought the teachers needed a voice on the school board, because as far as I can remember, no retired teacher had ever been on the school board before. And also we wanted to make some amends and have a good working relationship with the city commission. There had been some bumps in the road prior to that with them. So in the last 16 years, that's pretty well proven that it's happened, and some good things have come out of a good relationship with them. Lots of money, and money is always important, and you can look at this building you're in right now along with the other buildings throughout the city. So that is very important. So I've enjoyed most of the 16 years I've been on it also. There have been some times that weren't as enjoyable as other times, but we got through it with some good support and some good help. So thank you, and I'll be around like Charlie also.
And I want to add one more thing, and I know you all would agree. Without our families, we couldn't have done this job because they supported us. Our poor children are in school, and some of us got on the board, and that probably wasn't so much fun for them when Mom and Dad got on the board. But it's been such an honor and privilege to serve on the school board and to see what comes away from this school district. We've got amazing teachers and bus drivers and personnel that work so hard every day, and it's not a test score. It's not. It's what we see come out of Cleveland City Schools, and our city's citizens are very proud of what you do every day, and I am. You made my job not easy. I won't go that far, but it was an honor to do that. And I know you all would agree. It's an honor to fight for you and advocate for our students and all of our professional and staff, all of our staff. So thank you. I guess we're finished with speeches, huh? Dr. Dyer, we're going to move on to our teachers now.
We will. And I'm going to ask Kelly Kaiser, Director of Human Resources, to come up, and we're now going to recognize our new teachers and our retirees.
We're going to start with the retirees. And I'm going to introduce you to a lot of people this evening. So we're going to go rather quickly. I'm going to ask the retirees that are actually here in the audience. Some are here, and then some are probably out enjoying the fruits of their labor and enjoying their evening. Those that are here, we're going to ask you to wave, and then once we finish with retirees, we're going to have you go out in the lobby and take a picture with Miss Kelly Bender. So we're going to be honoring about 20 people this evening as retiring teachers. We're going to start with Ms. Cheryl Matthews, longtime teacher at Arnold Memorial Elementary School. Ms. Kathleen Wilson, longtime counselor at Arnold Memorial Elementary School. Ms. Brisavia Croft, principal at Blythebauer Elementary School. She is here. She perfected that beauty queen wave long ago. Ms. Glenda Taylor, longtime teacher at Blythebauer Elementary School. Had some other stops along the way. Ms. Taylor is here. Ms. Angelia Varner, longtime teacher at Blythebauer Elementary School. Ms. Varner is here. Ms. Nancy Cook, longtime teacher at George R. Stewart Elementary School. Ms. Edie May, media specialist at George R. Stewart Elementary School. Ms. Rochelle Shelton, principal at George R. Stewart Elementary School. Ms. Jennifer Morris, teacher at Mayfield Elementary School. Ms. Melinda Burnett, teacher at Yates Primary School. Ms. Valerie Dennis, teacher at Cleveland High School and the Denning Center prior to that. Mr. Keith Elliott, teacher at Cleveland High School. Ms. Jeannie Long, teacher at Cleveland High School. Mr. Clyde Rush, teacher at Cleveland High School. Ms. Catherine Seymour, teacher at Cleveland High School. Ms. Tammy Adams, counselor at Cleveland Middle School, and Ms. Adams is here. Ms. Karen Bunch, teacher at Cleveland Middle School, and she is here. Mr. Mike Conley, longtime teacher and coach at Cleveland Middle School. Ms. Sheila Jones, teacher at Cleveland Middle School. And Ms. Kimberly Lockhart, teacher at Cleveland Middle School. Those are our retirees for 2022. Congratulations to each and every one of you. If you'll make your way out to the lobby, Miss Bender will be there to take your picture, retirees. And now we're going to introduce the new teachers. New teachers there. Since there's about 62 of you, we're going to have you wave from your spot, and then we're going to do a picture with you out in the lobby when we finish up. So starting out as Learning Support Specialist is Miss Sandy Akiona. Our new Communications Coordinator, Miss Caroline Corrigan. Our Academics Administrative Assistant, Karen Lynn. School Psychologist, Caitlin McChesney. Supervisor of Federal Projects and Professional Development, Valerie Taylor. Teacher at Arnold Memorial Elementary, Martha Day. Teacher at Arnold Memorial Elementary, Fatima Fernandez. Counselor at Arnold Memorial Elementary, Jessica Frazier. Teacher at Arnold Memorial Elementary, Savannah Taylor. All right, now we're moving to Blythe Bower Elementary. Blythe Bower Elementary, Sarah Gunn. Also at Blythe Bower, teacher Sherry Higgins. Blythe Bower teacher, Michelle Johnson. Blythe Bower teacher, and back with us the second time, is Christy McClanahan. Blythe Bower teacher, Renee Mylan. Blythe Bower teacher, Cassidy Philly. Blythe Bower teacher, Sonia Schneebel. Blythe Bower teacher, Ashton Sparks. E.L. Ross Elementary teacher, Lexi Rogers. George R. Stewart Elementary teacher, Sam Brannon. George R. Stewart teacher, Bailey Burnett. Mayfield Elementary teacher, Stephanie Lehman. Mayfield teacher, Tiffany Llewellyn. Mayfield teacher, Jennifer Walker. Yates primary teacher, Candace Atha. Yates primary teacher, Abigail Jones. Cleveland High School teacher, Hannah Budoff. Cleveland High School teacher, Cassidy Calderera. I messed up with that one. I had to work on that one a little bit. Cleveland High School teacher, Stephanie Garcia. Cleveland High School teacher, Thomas Corey. Cleveland High School teacher, Sarah Loveday. Cleveland High School teacher, Michelle Mazzolini. Cleveland High School teacher, Samantha McCatherine. Cleveland High School teacher, Daniel Montgomery. Cleveland High School athletic director, Al Morris. Cleveland High School teacher, Jenna Morris. Cleveland High School teacher, Cecia Mortera. Cleveland High School teacher, Michael Ritchie. Cleveland High School teacher, Sean Russell. Cleveland High School teacher, Bert Charette. Cleveland High School teacher, Catherine White. Cleveland Middle School teacher, Brian Bay. Cleveland Middle School teacher, Nicole Bryan. Cleveland Middle School teacher, Andrew Coggin. Cleveland Middle School teacher, Mark Denatolis. Cleveland Middle School teacher, Kelly Fox. Cleveland Middle School Counselor Dale Geyer, Cleveland Middle School Teacher Logan Hall, Cleveland Middle School Teacher Kim Illingworth, Cleveland Middle School Teacher Haley May Sherrill, Cleveland Middle School Teacher Robert McIntyre, Cleveland Middle School Assistant Principal Carrie Miles, Cleveland Middle School Teacher Michael Penna, Cleveland Middle School Teacher Hannah Ritchie, Cleveland Middle School Teacher Madison Rodas, Cleveland Middle School Teacher Eric Simpson, Cleveland Middle School Teacher Emily Spann, Cleveland Middle School Teacher Danielle Suits, Cleveland Middle School Teacher Amy Trebo, Cleveland Middle School Teacher Danny Wages, Cleveland Middle School Teacher Tori Walker, Cleveland Middle School Teacher Angela Walsh, and Cleveland Middle School Teacher Aniston Williams. Now that we've worn you out clapping, that is all of our new certified staff for Cleveland City Schools for the 2022-2023 school year. New staff, we'll let you go out, take a picture with Miss Bender, and you are free to go rest up. Come back if you want. I know where you're going, it's fine. Thank you, board.
Okay, director's update's a little longer this time because we did not meet in July, so we've got some updates that we need to make sure you're updated about in the community as well. First up, welcome back has really been a lot of fun this year. We've had a good uptick in our student population. I'll talk about that here in a few minutes. But just being able to get out and see all of our new teachers and our principals, administrators, and our schools in action last week. You do normally have your back to school hiccups, and we have, but to see the interaction again of our students with each other, but also with their teachers, school cafeteria staff, bus drivers, and so forth, it really has been a lot of fun. And I had the opportunity last week to probably visit, I would say roughly 95% of the classrooms, and just go in to spend a few minutes in there, and it really fills my battery back up to be able to do that and to see the magic that happens in those classrooms each and every day. So I appreciate the hard work that goes into reopening the schools on behalf of our principals, our team, our teachers, and everyone else that's involved. It's not easy, and it takes a lot of work to make sure they're prepared to go, both from the AOB staff, but also in schools, and I'm really proud of the work that's been done. And that's something that, again, takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of energy, but they've done it and done it well. We had a really successful professional development week. We had a lot of opportunities for our teachers and all of our staff really to dive deep into things that they've needed to dive into for a little while. So we've talked about trauma-based learning, we've talked about diversity, we've talked about a lot of topics that have been asked for a number of years this year, as well as diving into standards and curriculum and the pieces that we need to continue to dive into. But Professional Development Week, I've received a lot of positive feedback on the sessions that were attended. Also received feedback of things we can think about in the future and look into. But I appreciate all the staff jumping in and working together to pull off a really successful Professional Development Week. And we're back in school now, full-fledged today. Start of a full week, and we're off to the races now. I'm very happy about the work that's being accomplished so far, and I know we're going to have a lot of good work ahead. I do want to once again bring up parent responsibility zones. I know that when we deal with parent responsibility zones, that can be a hot topic in some corridors, in some areas. Parent responsibility zones this year have been implemented in some schools that they weren't necessarily implemented in last year, primarily due to the fact that we need additional bus drivers. We are actively recruiting bus drivers, bus monitors. We need folks that are willing and ready to step up and learn that trade. It does take several months of training. We provide that here at Cleveland City Schools, and we're more than willing to talk to anyone who may have an interest in doing that. You do have to be 25 years of age, but I know Hal Taylor and our transportation department, as well as others there at transportation, are more than willing to sit down and talk to anyone who may have an interest in that. Our hope and our desire is that as we are able to bring on additional bus drivers, we can chip away at the parent responsibility zones that are out there. So right now there are parent responsibility zones. The link on this page will take folks to that. But if you go to the news section of our website, you'll find a link to parent responsibility zones. The zones are listed there. It shows a map of what those zones are, because I'm seeing some things posted on social media that aren't necessarily what a parent responsibility zone are. So I would encourage people to go to the website to look at the map. If you have questions, contact transportation and we'll be glad to walk you through that. Now, be patient if you call, because we only have so many lines for that building and so many workers, but we will answer every call that comes in, and we want to make sure parents have accurate information, so please contact us. But again, if you are interested in the community in being a bus driver, or if you know people that may have an interest, please send them our way. We want to talk. We want to chip away at these zones as well, but we do need some additional bus drivers. We do have additional bus drivers right now in the training program, but it will take a while to get them through the program, get them fully licensed, and back out on the streets again. So that would be one way the community could really help us right now, is help us find some additional drivers to go into that. So I would encourage that. Yes, sir.
Can you tell how long it takes to be trained for a bus driver?
I'm going to look at Mr. Taylor. I believe the training, Mr. Taylor, is 3 months, around 3 months.
Yeah, it depends on the individual, but it's generally 2 to 3 months now. Federal regulations kicked in February, so it's 100 to 200 hours a day on the individual.
Okay, so folks that may not be able to hear that in the background, the answer was to train a bus driver, it takes 2 to 3 months, depending on several factors. But there's a lot of federal requirements and state requirements we have to work through, so we can't just rush someone through that system. It does take a while, but we do train in-house. There's no cost to that, and we're able to do that with our Cleveland City School staff.
Do they get paid while they're training?
How, could you explain the training process and the pay for that?
Monitors, they'll work on our special needs buses or even on our. We hire them as bus monitors initially, and they'll work on our special needs buses, or they'll work on our regular ed buses initially while we're training them. That was the only way we could find that we could keep people into the program. So that's, and they also get introduced to the students, because you don't want to train somebody to be a bus driver and then throw them on a bus and never have dealt with students before. So that's also a benefit of the way we're doing it now.
What is the pay for bus drivers? The community may be interested in that.
It's $18.57 an hour once you get your CDL, plus a $150 a month performance and safety bonus. And the year end of year, yeah. And if you complete the year, if you start and complete the year, there's a $1,000 bonus for completing the year.
Wow.
So
That's good.
You know, that's pretty good. They work about 4.5 hours a day. Is generally what they get paid is a guaranteed 4.5 hours a day.
Thank you. Any other questions on that part? Okay. Next deals with employee engagement. One of the things that I'm really committed to this year that we've not been able to do necessarily during the last 2 COVID years is getting back out in front of our employees more than I've been able to in the past. I've shared with you kind of that plan and email in the last month or so, but that will start up here fairly soon. One of the things that I'm going to be doing is going out and having time after school for employee groups to come in and just talk. I've got a set of questions that I want to go out to the schools with, and it's optional, and no one has to stay after school. We don't want to require anybody to do this, but for those employees, whether it be school cafeteria, whether it be teachers, whatever the case may be, I want to create a time to go out and have basically a focus group and ask questions, get feedback. Dr. Elliott will be accompanying me on those so that we can gather feedback that helps in a variety of ways. I want to know what we can do to better support them. By them, I mean our employees and the jobs that they have. What kind of things can we think through to really help drive the work, take things off their plate, but also how can we provide just better overall efficient services for our employees, along with other things as well. But it's meant to be a time that is meaningful for them as well as for me and for us, and that way I can walk away with good ideas from all of our schools, as well as at the AOB and the operations department, to use that feedback to better let you all know what we need to be thinking through as a school district as we think through our strategic plan, which will be time to update that here fairly soon again. So that's a big piece of what I'm going to be doing. And along with that, we're going to continue our employee roundtables this year. So we'll have a focus group of both classified employees, certified employees. I'll be meeting with Teachers of the Year Advisory Council again this year. That'll start up in September. We'll also, later in the year, this is dealing with employees necessarily, but start back our stakeholder engagement group. Some of you may recall that if you were on the board about 3 years ago. We had engagement groups starting back dealing with academic engagement, special populations, ESL, innovation, student life and safety, student information and testing, family engagement planning, CTE advisory committee, as well as our communications advisory committee. So we'll be able to kick these back into motion again, and really not just employee engagement, but also community engagement overall. And that's something I'm really excited to get back operating again and get back into the flow of how we just better engage the folks that are part of Cleveland City Schools. So I look forward to doing that. I think it's going to be good. We're also going to be looking at other ways of engaging, and I'll talk more about that when a more definite plan is out there. But looking at some more creative things we can do as well to get better feedback on how we can better serve both our employees but also the Cleveland community. So more coming on that in the not so distant future. Moving on, the crisis communication. This is a new section of our website. If you go to our website and go under menu, you'll see now the beginnings of what we'll continue to fill in regarding safety. And the first thing you'll see is a safety plan, a safety communication plan, crisis communication plan that you can link to. This is open to any parent, anybody in the community, really anyone in the world can go to this and read what's there. And that really is our plan for communicating out when there's a crisis happening in one of our schools. Now that could be anything from a tornado to we're having a lockdown to other types of crisis that you might have that wouldn't require necessarily a lockdown or even a soft lockdown, but it could just be a crisis that's happened for whatever reason. So I encourage our parents, our families, all of us to go to that website, check out the crisis communication plan. That will continue to be tweaked over time. As you know, that's something that never is stagnant. We're about to go through our communications audit. That will be part of the audit. They'll look at that part as well and provide us guidance on how we can make that better. You also have on the website bus safety, so there's a nice video that parents can watch or students can watch dealing with bus safety, and that was filmed by some of our own. So something that we're proud of our students working. At the bottom of the page, there's also a link to the bullying and also other resources and our Stop It app for anonymous reporting of issues that may come up at a school. So that plan, that page will continue to be updated as we go, but did want to call your attention to that. At this time, I'm going to call on Caroline Corrigan to come up. This is her first board meeting with us, and she's already on the agenda tonight. And she's going to give us just a brief update about our communication audit that is upcoming.
Hi. So we're gathering the materials right now for the communication audit. It's expected to open up the surveys for our community, our staff members, and parents next Monday. So that will be open from August 22nd to September 2nd. And then following the week, I believe the last week of September, September 19th is when we will actually host those focus groups with members of the community, teachers, staff, board members, and then parents as well. So we're hoping to gather a lot of information, but it should be completed by the end of September. Yep.
So we're excited about the communications audit. That will be, it's a lot of work on her part in dealing with the different teams and focus groups. But I think that's going to be a great product when we get to the finish line. I'm now going to ask Dr. Cody Raper to give us an update on our technology strategic plan and also Digital Safety Week that's upcoming. He has to come from behind the shadows over
Who's
there.
the man behind the curtain?
So our technology strategic plan is underway. We're developing a 3-year technology strategic plan. We initially started in January, convening a committee made up of lay facilitators, administrators, and different voices from around the district. And the first thing we did was establish our current conditions. Where are we? What resources do we have? Those kind of things. And so we went from there to getting feedback from others. And one of the big things we've done is to do a needs survey to all of our constituents, and that's kind of the phase we're in right now. Let me scroll there. So we kind of started this process in February. We developed a pretty comprehensive questionnaire that was broken up based on who our constituent group is, so whether that's a student, whether that's a parent or community member or a teacher, to get feedback on the different areas we can grow in technology. And so that survey went out in late April. We got the data back about halfway through May. The school was ending. We now have an executive summary ready. We're ready to share that data with the committee. And so the goal is that in September, we will finalize establishing goals based on those needs. And then in October, establish how we would evaluate our successful completion of those goals, with the goal being by November we have a final document ready to be presented to the board. Any questions about that? Okay, and I'm also super excited. Digital Safety Week is coming up again. We did this last year, so we're bringing it back. It should be fresh and new for students though. There are different lesson plans for each grade level. So even though we're looking at the same topic, K-12, the lesson plans per grade level change in how you look at those different topics. And so it's going to cover things such as being safe online, making sure that we make good choices, not meeting up with strangers. It's going to also talk about things such as good passwords and keeping our accounts safe. But then we're also going to talk to those students about those important things such as our digital footprint, what we're putting on social media, making good choices online. So trying to holistically look at this whole idea of student safety online and responsible stewardship of online access. And so we'll have parent guides to go home each night for the parents so they can see what we talked about during the day. And then the teachers will deliver those lessons, K-12, throughout the week next week. So this will be August 22nd through August 26th. We'll be doing this. We also have some PR that's getting ready to go out to the community about this upcoming event.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, well, we'll keep moving along here. Just want to give you some updates on that real quick. The next screen is actually going to show you just a little bit of what happened during the last week. As you know, we're out and about a lot, and going out and visiting kids, seeing registration in action and everything else. I will say that at Caroline, you're doing a great job of keeping social media updated with fresh pictures and everything. So it's good to see the action in our schools and bringing it to life for all of us to see as well, since we can't be everywhere all the time. So I just wanted to kind of show you a few pictures of last week and the fun that's been taking place. Also, just wanted to take a moment and remind me and also all of us about my goals for the year. these are the goals that were set forth in the evaluation started back in February. And it's good to be reminded for myself. I keep a snapshot of this on my desk taped to my monitor so I can kind of look back at that and remind myself of the things that I'm working toward. You can see one we're working toward that, of course, the technology strategic plan. That was one area that we've talked about needs to be developed out, and thinking through that. So that's underway. Community engagement with the district, including but not limited to parents, students, business and industry leaders. That goes into the engagement plan that I've been discussing, and ways that we can step out and further engage, ways that I can do that and build on those pieces. Establish a formal way to obtain feedback from our own staff and family to gauge school and system culture. That's the area that's continuing to be thought through and how we can do that now that we're in a new school year. That's an area that I really want to focus toward, and you heard a little bit how that's going to start, but I'm working on some other angles of that too that I hope to share with you real soon. Coordinate a communications audit to be approved and implemented. You approved the plan, now it's being implemented very soon, and we'll get those studies back and get at it as far as that goes. And then the school system budget reflects district priorities identified in our strategic plan. And of course, our 5 C's dealing with our portrait for graduate and our academics are woven into those goals and through our strategic plan. The strategic plan we currently have does go through 2025. So this school year we're in good shape. Starting to think about next school year, we'll have to start thinking about crafting a new overall strategic plan for the system that will go for another 3 to 5 years. So we'll be thinking a lot more about that as we go. Just a little bit about the academic progress from this past year. We have some real accomplishments, and I'm really proud of the work of our teachers. I'm very proud of the work of our administrators and everyone working so hard to ensure that our students are getting a wonderful education in all of our schools. This past year, our student achievement rates showed improvement at the elementary level in English and math. We know that's been an area of focus for us. That's an area that school systems across the country are focusing on. And as we continue to think through and work on plans to address what happened during COVID with learning loss, this is an area that we need to celebrate, English and math in our elementary schools. At Cleveland Middle School, academic achievement rates rose for English, math, and social studies. At the high school, our students showed academic progress in Algebra 1, Biology, English 1 and 2, and U.S. History. We also saw work in AP that was outstanding. And I think I've shared with these details in my welcome back letter to the school system, but I wanted to bring them back up again here because I want to again emphasize the great work that's happening inside Cleveland City Schools. And I think if you go to any of our schools and you walk those hallways and you go in those classrooms, you're going to see students and teachers engaged in the learning process. And they're doing a wonderful job, and they deserve to be celebrated and pat on the back. And I can't say enough good things about our teachers, our principals, all those who are sinking so much time and energy and to make sure our students have what they need to be successful. And, you know, I know the high school is kind of the icing on the cake when they get to 12th grade and graduate, but students don't walk away with $8 million in scholarships just by accident. It happens because it starts in kindergarten and it works all the way through the system to get to 12th grade. So I'm extremely proud of the work of all of our schools. Do we have continued work we need to look into and dive into? Of course. Just like any corporation, any business, any industry, we have ways that we can get better, and we will. But I do think it's time, now is a great time for us to celebrate the good work that's been accomplished, and I'm really proud of our staff for the work they do. So, and I know you are as well. Now, also want to update you on our numbers as of today. And I know there's no way you can read this. I will share this slide deck with you a little bit later, because that's really small all the way over there. These numbers I'm going to share with you are going to change. Okay, these are the numbers as of this afternoon about 1 o'clock. But starting tomorrow, we will actually start dropping students out of Power School that have not shown up yet in our classrooms. So we're still very much in the beginning of the school year, and these count kids that may or may not have actually been to school yet. So some of these numbers, people may have moved, but we're still keeping them in case they just show up a few days late. So as you look through here, the total count right now is looking around, let me pull this up a little bigger for me, Total population, 5,693 students are currently part of our Cleveland City Schools overall Power School roster. That's an increase of, I'm going to give you a range, 80 to 100 students over last year. So we have seen growth so far in our system. Now again, it's early right now, so these numbers will modify and change some, and I can give you a more exact number probably later this week than I can right now. But I did want to give you an update about where we are today. So as you go through and you look, for example, Arnold Elementary School, current population would be 266. Blythe Bower, 609. Candies Creek Cherokee, 465. Cleveland High School, 1,884. Big number. Cleveland Middle School, 1,285. Mayfield Elementary, 402. Ross Elementary, 272. Stewart, 245. Yates, 265. So healthy numbers out in our schools right now. And really glad to see that. Glad to see numbers are rebounding some after we're coming out of COVID a little bit. But we will see where these final numbers end down the road. Currently, when you go through and you look at our statistics, you can see the economically disadvantaged. About 34.4% are registered as economically disadvantaged. Gender, we're looking at about 52.8% male versus 47.2% female. Special education, around 12.5% of our student body currently that's in Power School would be deemed in special education. About 8.8% of students are ESL. And then you can see our Tennessee race and ethnicity codes as well. About 50.7% are white, about 26.6% are Hispanic, and the other numbers kind of break down from there. So just interesting numbers coming in as far as demographics go. I will keep you updated on this as it goes, because like I said, it will change after tomorrow. We'll see these numbers fluctuate some, but I thought it was good to at least give you that update tonight about our numbers and then see where they go. Any questions on any of the update tonight? I know it's a little bit more lengthy than normal, but we had a lot to cover, so. Okay.
All right. We understood it all.
Good.
Will you send us those slides?
I will.
Though?
We will. We'll get that to you tomorrow.
That'd be great. Thank you. Well, it's a great segue into the board resolution. You all got a copy of that in your packet. And we all know that public education is under attack. Local control is under attack by powers that are out there. And I think that Dr. Dyer and I spoke. We're a little bit later than June when Mr. Arns spoke in Nashville or Williamson County, but I think that we want our people to know we support them and know they work very hard. So would anyone like to make comments or change anything on the resolution? And I'm open to discussion, but if not, we need a motion to approve it. And where are we going to send it? Where did we decide to send it? To our legislators?
What we have normally done, and of course it's up to you, but normally we send those to our local legislators as well as TOS, TSBA, those organizations as well.
Comments, questions, motion?
I just wanted to add, I understand the reason for the resolution and what spurred it, but I also want to make sure that we always remember that we demonstrate that we support our teachers all year round, that everything that we do is in support of our teachers, and it's not just a resolution that's written on paper, that it's through our actions every day.
It's a really good, important point to make, Krista, because that I know this board stands for that, and I hope our teachers and administrators know that too. Okay, can I hear a motion to approve the resolution? Anybody?
So moved.
Tom made a motion, second by Carolyn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. All right. We're going to go next to the policies, and what I'm going to ask board is for a motion to waive the second reading on all these policies. So we're going to do first and final reading tonight, and that way we'll have closure for the new board members to come in September and not have to finish up something that this board started. And they're going to have plenty of policies they get to deal with, so we're not taking away that joy for them. But but I do have to have a motion. It has to be voted on by the board if we want to waive the second reading.
Can we take one, There's one that I've got a question about that might need some rewording.
Okay.
So I didn't know if that would be eligible for a final vote or if we would need to do a second vote for
Well,
that.
I tell you what, I think Dr. Dyer's going to go through that individually, or Dr. Elliott, whoever, and then we can pull that one out that we might want to, even if you change it, if the board agrees, that's still okay to approve it.
Okay.
So we'll take them one at a time. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I need a motion to waive the second reading.
So moved.
Charlie, second. Nate, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Okay. We have waived the second reading. Dr. Dyer.
Okay, there are a slew of new policies here. So I will go through them, and then maybe easiest if you just stop me when you want to discuss a piece of one. So I know, Krista, you had sent me an email regarding 1.102, so would you like to share your thoughts?
Yeah, I saw the change, this is the board members' eligibility policy, and it was actually discussed at the law, summer law in Gatlinburg that TSBA put on. And I noticed that the change in wording may conflict with what is currently in our city charter. So I saw where what's X'd through, the old wording said members of the board should be residents of the city of Cleveland. And the new wording just said members of the board shall be residents. Oh, that's been updated. Okay.
Dr. Elliott worked on that earlier based on your email,
Okay,
and then we
I'm
can
sorry.
change it back to what it would need to as well. So there's a draft here that has been updated, but we can change it however it needs to be.
The first
For the
draft
board.
took the city of Cleveland out, and because the city charter specifically says must be residents of the city of Cleveland, I wanted to make sure that we didn't get out of alignment.
Yep.
And I did run that by TSBA. I called Jennifer White, and she agreed that that law that went into effect, it was, I can't remember the public charter number 809 or 802, was written for the counties, and that cities and special districts would need to modify the language accordingly. So I just wanted to make sure that we were consistent with our city charter.
And that's an important point. I had that written down in my notes to pull that out, because we do have to reflect the state and local laws in our policies, and that's a charter law.
Yes.
So. Okay. I guess
Okay.
we'll go on with that
So,
one.
yes, so we're going to just do them all at the end.
Yeah, let's do it all at the end.
So that's 1.102. Any other questions on this one before I move forward? Okay. All right, 1.104 deals with memberships. As you can see here, TSBA is no longer a part of the National School Board Association. They're a member of the new School Board Association that represents other states. I don't recall the name of that organization off the top of my mind right now, but it's not the National School Board Association. TSBA and several other state organizations have pulled out of the National School Board Association. They're part of that. So this policy updates that NSBA is no longer a part of what TSBA is a member of. Okay. 1.105, school board legislative involvement. When you read through this policy, basically it makes sure that this board keeps doing what it's basically always done and be very active when it comes to thinking through legislative updates that are going through Nashville, that we have a member that is appointed to be the legislative lead to make sure they're staying in touch with what's happening in Nashville. Carolyn is on the board for TSBA and has been kind of serving that role, but that's something that's really, really important, that we're keeping in touch with that and making sure that we're doing all we can to either fight for good public policy dealing with education, or in some cases, speak up against it. So this policy pretty much reinforces what you've been doing all along. Any
Krista?
thoughts or questions?
I have another question about that one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we vote not too long ago to take the legislative representative off, but now we're adding it back in?
Well, we took it off as a representative because we had Carolyn and people, the board at the time didn't feel like we needed a special person, but you all can, the board can always appoint that person again if we want to. as long as we have somebody that's on the board that kind of keeps up with that, that suffices.
Is that something we would need to add to our either appointments or our election of officers when we do that?
Typically, what we've done is elect officers in January, and then the chairman makes those appointments in February. And you can do that. I mean, it's the will of the board. I don't think it could have a vote in December that you want that, or in January when you elect your chairman, same thing. Just give that chairman guidance so he can come back or she can come back with that appointment.
So what you're saying is the policy isn't requiring us to have a person labeled legislative representative.
Correct.
It's just giving us the option to.
I think so. That's Dawn's interpretation.
But it says, number 3 says the board shall annually select.
One.
But the explanation is we have Carolyn, and she sits on that. TSBA used to have a whole separate legislative body board, separate from their governing board, but now it's all one. And so we have Carolyn on that board, and she can represent us with the votes on the legislation there. So it's whatever y'all want to do.
If you want to leave it shall, we can, or you can change that word to something else more pleasing to the board.
Well, my only concern was that if we had taken it off before, are we adding it back? And it sounds like we've had it. We didn't really take it off. We just didn't have this formal designation. And
Right.
maybe we just return to acknowledging that Carolyn is serving in that role.
We could use the word may, and that way the board can decide what they want to do.
So you want to hear that as a
You can change that to
motion?
may
To change
instead
the
of.
word may?
Is that agreeable? We'll vote. And that's agreeable with everybody.
I mean,
May.
I'm fine with shall. I just wanted clarification.
Well, you might want one. I mean, it's nice to have the option, I think. Especially some of those heated legislative sessions that we have over the years. You may very much want a board member to be in Nashville a lot. So I think that's a good option to have. All right, change it to May, and we'll vote. Any objection? Okay.
Okay, duly noted. All right, 2.806, bids and quotations. In this particular bill, it updates from board policy dealing with how we go about doing purchases. You can see that all purchases, line 10, marked out is between 2501 and 25,000 or less. That between 2501 and is marked out because new state laws were voted in last year that raise the amount that school systems can go out and do work without having to do necessarily bids, although we still need to go about obtaining 3 written quotes. So if we're going to do a bid for some sort of new something in-house department, for example, as long as it's $25,000 or less, competitive bids would not be required by new state law. Instead, we would go out and solicit 3 bids for that piece of equipment or whatever it may be. In other words, you may look at Amazon, you may look at Walmart, you may look at one other site to see which one has the best price for that instead of putting out a whole bid for that instead. So it changes that process up as far as how that's done and how that works.
I'd like to talk about that policy.
Yep.
At the very end, where it talks about contracts for legal services,
Right.
education consultants, and services from an insurance provider are professional. They do not have to be bid out. TSBA and I got into a big discussion about that, Ben Torres and I, because the legislation passed this year that an insurance provider could provide services that didn't have to be bid, but cannot provide the insurance itself. So that's very confusing. And so I told Ben, I think we need to clarify that for boards, and maybe they talked about it at summer law. But they got an Attorney General opinion at the end of July, and the Attorney General said an insurance provider, say we had a local insurance provider that wanted to come and talk to the board about selling insurance, they could work with Dr. Dyer and work up ways to cut insurance costs. They can consult in that way. But then if that insurance man or woman has a product, they can't sell that except through the bidding process. So it's very confusing. because most of us don't have a local agent because we go through the trust, but some school systems have a local agent that they've worked with for years and years who advises them, but yet they don't buy the insurance from that agent. Does that make sense? And so Ben finally gave in and said that, he said, I don't agree with your interpretation. And I said, it's services, but it's not product. There's a difference. So we can get professional services without bidding, but we can't buy any products without bidding. So anyway, I think they're on the right track now.
And we'll see what future board updates say down the road.
The Attorney General, I think, clarified all that.
Okay. Any other questions on that particular policy? Okay. We'll move now to 3.202, Emergency Preparedness Plan. As you can see, the old policy has pretty much been marked out, and new pieces of this has been added in. This updates everything to be in line with new state regulations dealing with preparedness plans. Fire drills, armed intruder drills, AED drills, safety drills, medical emergency, pandemic flu drills, and the new one is remote learning drills. So one word I would say to this is, with remote learning drills, we are not required to go to full remote learning to do the drill. So we can drill while kids are at school and just say, okay, everybody sign into Canvas or whatever learning management system they would use, and just make sure it works. So that's how we would do a remote learning drill, unless someone tells me otherwise. But that's what we've heard through our updates and everything with that. But that's the new emergency preparedness plan. Any questions on this? Okay. Instructional standards 4.101. You can see, again, this is a new, well, not new, but some updated references on here. This deals with state standards. It also deals with complaints. As you see in line 12, any complaints regarding the above dealing with state standards shall be submitted per board policy 4.402. So we have a board policy. We also have clear procedures for this that are written out for how families would do that, or if somebody chose to do that. You can see also under curriculum and instruction planning, complaints regarding teaching prohibited concepts in violation of state law shall be submitted per the regulation developed by the Tennessee Department of Education. And they have broadcast that out, how people may, if they choose to do so, complain regarding those items. Okay. 4.210 is one that bringing to your attention that we need to update as far as board policy. You can see they had a little take at the word should versus shall in line 8, just clearing up some language. And then under grades, you can see there's a new section here. Students passing credit recovery shall receive a grade of 70% under the state uniform grading system. If the district utilizes a locally adopted grading scale that differs from the uniform grading scale, a student passing credit recovery shall receive a D. So Brian and I and Jeff Elliott talked earlier. This one we're sending through tonight with an understanding that it may go through another update once the State Board of Education finishes some work they're currently moving toward. But we need to get this in board policy tonight, although we may bring it right back. But that would update it to meet the current board policy at the state level. Okay, moving right along here, 4.212 is virtual education program. We do have a virtual education program that was in place a couple years back. We currently are not necessarily using this in the way that it's written, but we need to have a board policy that's updated to meet all the new state regulations and laws in case we ever come back to this and need to address this again. Much like we have policies regarding charter schools, but we currently don't have any. We just need to make sure our policy's up to date, ready to go in case that is ever needed down the road. So that's why we have this policy going in tonight. 4.402, reconsideration of instructional materials and textbooks. In here, you can see that several lines have been marked out, and this implements the way that the state would like for us to go through making sure that our materials we use in our classrooms meet state standards, and also gives clear ways for those in the community who may want to go through and file a complaint. Now, the part to pay attention to is line 4. If a complaint is filed by a parent or guardian, employee, or student, should be regarding, not regrading textbooks, there's a typo there, or instructional materials, this process is to be followed, and it goes through. So it's important to note that just a random community member cannot file a complaint per state law. It has to be someone who meets that criteria, and I want to make sure that I call that to your attention tonight. And then you go through what the process would be. We do have procedures that go with this as well, and it's well written. It follows the state policy, and we feel good about what the state's requiring.
I had a question about that one as it relates to the next one.
Okay.
It's minor, but I was wondering if you might be able to help clarify the distinction. If you'll notice in step 8, an appeal is then made to the board, and the board makes the decision about instructional materials. But when you get to the library one, it stops with the principal. The principal
Right.
is the appeal. What's the difference? Why is the board involved at this level and it stops with the principal?
Yeah, I'm going to read into legislative intent, I guess, on this, and just this is my personal opinion. Instructional materials are approved by the school board. Textbooks are approved by the school board for purchase. So my thinking is that's why that comes all the way to the school board, whereas library materials are usually approved at the school or district level, and you don't approve as a board every novel that goes into a school system or a school library. So that would be Russell Dyer's interpretation of that from what I heard with legislative intent. Now, that's my take on it. Someone else may have another take on that, but that's my reading of that. Okay. So we do need to fix the one word on line 4. Okay. Speaking of library materials, 4.403, this spells out that our library content development and how books could be potentially challenged for being in a school library. One of the requirements here is that all of our library books must be on our websites, our school websites. That has been done. So anyone can go to any one of our schools, go to our website. There's a link there, and you can search all the library collection. You can spend all day doing that and look through there to see what books are contained in all of our libraries. It gives a way to issue complaints and how that all works. And you're right, there's a way that a committee would be formed. And again, there are procedures to go with this that meet the state regulations. Any questions on the library bill? Okay. 4.406, use of the internet. Basically, this policy most of this has been around for quite a while. It talks about filters, it talks about use of email, internet safety instructions, social networking, violations, and vendor contracts. Dr. Raper and I had a good discussion about this. We feel like we're in a good place as far as this bill is concerned. We've talked about it before in this group, in this board, with the amount of filters we use and the amount of internet safety procedures we have in place. So I do feel good about this, and I think this will be a good addition to what we're looking at for our strategic plan as well. Okay. Next, 4.600, dealing with grading system. The grading system, as you can see from starting at line 12, schools teaching grades 9 through 12. Now we've marked that out, and we've worked with a group of teachers and other staff at schools. We're moving forward with grades 6 through 12. Shall use the uniform grading system established by the Board of Education. You can see the uniform grading system is meant to equalize access to the Tennessee Student Assistance Corporation. So student scholarships, they're trying to equalize who has access to those funds. And you can see the new grading system. A is a 90 to 100, a B is 80 to 89, C is a 70 to 79, D is a 60 to 69, F is a 0 to 59. You can also see how courses break down as far as honor courses. local and state dual credit, capstone industry certification aligned, and internal dual enrollment courses. You can also see how AP courses break out with the extra points as well, and a little bit more on the lottery scholarships. Okay. All right, 5.119, employment of retirees. Basically, this allows us to hire back retirees without penalizing them as far as it goes to retirement. So the number of employees that retired and were here tonight and others that couldn't be here tonight, it's a good way for us to bring some of those folks back into the system to work for us in different capacities and not have them face consequences dealing with their retirement plan. So I'm very much in favor of this. This will really help some school systems that are really hurting, needing teachers right now. We're in a good spot, but a lot of other school systems are still struggling to fill a lot of gaps. So this will help them quite a bit, and it could help us down the road as well. So that's a good policy, I do believe. 5.200, separation practices for tenured teachers. As you can move through here and see, some of the old dealing with retirement was marked out. That's because the retirement has all been added to the policy that I just mentioned. So that's basically the change in this policy. Separation practices for non-tenured teachers, 5.201. You can see under resignation, there's a part here about the drafting of a teacher into military service, and also you get into the retirement section as well. That has been moved to the other policy. 5.701, dealing with substitute teachers. You can see, again, the retired section has been moved to the new policy, so they've marked that out and moved that over. 6.200, dealing with attendance. Attendance is something we're always looking at. The new policy here, or the policy that we're dealing with, is several pages long. The old policy has been marked out, new policy brought in. In this, we're dealing more with a new tiered system. The courts, juvenile court system, worked hard with legislators, and they've really listened to our principals, as well as I know Doug Moore with Eason have worked a lot with our local juvenile jail and others to refine this procedure and this policy to make it a better system for those of all us in schools who have to implement it, but also the court system who has to work with us each and every day. So really try to clean up the language dealing with tiers, dealing with the procedures that go into making this all work. So the updates you see here would go into effect, marking out the old policy and bringing in new, and we do have the procedures to go with this as well. Any questions? That's a big one. 6.204, attendance of non-resident students. Basically what this law allows is for students who are, let's say you have an employee that lives in Georgia and they want to bring their son or daughter to Cleveland City Schools. There was a law that sort of made that harder to do, and now that's been taken out, and employees can bring their children with them if the school system allows that to happen. So it's one of those that allows us to do that without having to charge tuition unless the school system chooses to do so. 6.318, in this policy, admission of suspended or expelled students, we do need to add the line or the word designee on line 4 after director of schools or designee, if we could add that to this policy. And then it does mark out the old policy here about denying admission or any school that accepts enrollment. So it cleans up if a student moves from one county to our system, and let's say they were expelled for 30 days at the end of school from that system, that suspension or that expulsion would carry over into our system, and that student would not be enrolled until that suspension or expulsion expires. So that just makes that possible for that to really come to us as well. And the last one here, 6.409, reporting child abuse. This marks out on line 4, or it cleans up who goes through child abuse training. Now, in our system, we send everyone through that, all employees, but by state law now, it would be only employees that have direct contact with students. So if you're a secretary at the AOB and that you never have that contact with a student, you're always at the office doing your work, you would not necessarily have to do the training, but we do the training anyways for our system. But this gives the right, if we ever choose to go a different direction with that, that would allow that to happen. Congratulations, that was a lot of policies. But that's the end that I have on my list. Did I miss anything? Okay.
Anybody have any questions for Dr. Dyer? If not, I need a motion to approve, please. Okay, Krista. Second, Peggy. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Good job. Thank you, Dr. Dyer.
Thanks to
You
the
gave us
team that put this together, so everybody
you gave us,
involved.
yeah, 185 pages worth of stuff to
Yes.
read. It's really good. All right,
Lot
very
there.
good. Thank you. I believe we're going to hear from Mr. Kaiser next.
Yes, we are.
Well, good evening, board. I'm going to give you a update on engaged workforce this evening. Mostly we're going to focus on staffing. In this update, as we just talked about diversity in June, we're going to mention that a little bit, but we're going to mostly focus on staffing on this update. As you know, our strategic plan goal, if you'll go ahead and move forward, Mr. Raper, or Dr. Raper, is to provide diverse, high-quality staff across our district. And to that end, Michelle Adsit, my administrative assistant, and I have been very busy onboarding people and moving people this school year. If you'll go ahead and advance, Dr. Raper. Currently, we have 62 new certified staff members that are set to be hired, along with 22 new classified staff members for the upcoming school year. We are, I'd say 99% staffed at this point in time. We have a couple of certified positions still to fill. We're looking to try to fill. One is a speech language pathologist, and the other is a second Air Force JARA OTC instructor. Those have been difficult to fill. If you follow staffing for education across the country, those positions are hard to find, and people are struggling with those across the country. Additionally, we have one other position, as we've added a special education teacher position due to growth at Candies Creek, so that one's also posted. So those are the 3 certified positions we're still looking to fill. We have about 5 teacher assistant positions that we're still looking to fill, but overall, we're in pretty good shape at this point in time. Just by comparison, the slideshow that you saw that was very similar to the one that we did at the beginning of the board meeting tonight was 21 certified staff members last year. And so we have 62 this year. In regards to that, I wanted to share, why are we hiring people? If you'll go ahead and go forward, Dr. Raper. Why are we hiring people in Cleveland City Schools? And this is based on our exit survey results. I would say that these are, they're totally optional. We don't require people to do this, but if they wish to share, they're allowed to do so. So reasons why. One, some folks are retiring. You saw 20 individuals that retired. I would say the trend is when people are eligible at this point, especially following the pandemic, they choose to retire. And I certainly understand that. The second reason that we're seeing quite often is people are moving to be closer to their relatives, whether that's their mom and dad or they have young children. We're seeing a trend of more folks doing that, or maybe it's just that more jobs are available in that area and they're choosing to do that. Third reason, some are leaving simply because they want to go into another field and attempt to increase their pay. That's pretty straightforward, and we can understand that. And then fourth, some folks are just simply choosing to do something different for whatever reason, whether that is they want to try a different field, or they want to they're worn out, they're tired, or other reasons. I mean, that's just some of the things that we've heard as we've done the exit surveys. I would reiterate that this is a trend across Tennessee and the United States. The term has been the Great Resignation of 2021. but thankfully we have been able to hire back some wonderful folks. If you'll go to the next slide for me, Dr. Raper. Just want to share, who are we hiring? So the community can see, yes, we have hired more people, but who are we hiring in Cleveland City Schools? So of those certified staff members, 38 of those individuals have been experienced certified personnel coming from the Southeast Tennessee area. So from our regional area, 38 of those new teachers are experienced personnel. An additional 12 are experienced certified personnel from outside the local area, whether that be individuals we've hired out of Illinois or other states. This year, one thing I would say that's really helped us is Tennessee making the change to where if you hold a professional certification in another state, you can come in and automatically be granted a professional certification in Tennessee. That's really changed the game for bringing in people from the outside. So that's really helped us. And then we have 12 folks that are new to the education field completely and are new teachers. But overall, we've really hired a great number of folks that have experience in the field of education. I want to touch a little bit on diversity and things that we've done. I ran through these in June, but I just want to go through those again and talk about some people that have done some work for us. Some diversity accomplishments. We have increased social media use in recruiting. You see, by and large, all of our job postings are out and available on our social media sites. We've changed some of our documentation to engage more minority candidates. We've created a staff diversity advisory committee, which you'll hear about the upcoming year's group soon. Then we're developed a teacher pipeline for current students to each enter the teaching profession. And then we develop our district core values and beliefs. Our district diversity advisory committee, I want you to be aware of who these folks are. They're Kim Bradford, the principal at George R. Stewart Elementary, Eric Garner, the assistant principal at Cleveland High School, Chris Alvarez, who is a teacher at E.L. Ross, Rodney Broadnax, who is a teacher at Cleveland Middle School, Michelle Adsit, who is the administrative assistant at the AOB, Ben Garcia, who is now in technology, and then Valerie Mack, who is representing maintenance and transportation. Those folks did a tremendous job, and I'm going to, in sharing about future needs, I'm going to talk about some of the things that they helped us do in our in-service week. Just some future needs that I see for our human resources department. First is just the increased strategic data use in our HR department. The things that we have currently are things that we've created to try to keep track of. I see the need for us to more quickly be able to lay our hands on things like retention data and other statistics that are related to human resources that we just don't have at this point in time. So we're going to look at those kind of programs and see if there's something out there that we can get and use that will allow us to more quickly get our data without having to break out the calculator every single time that we do so. Additional staff training and diversity, I think that's something that we will continue working on. I do want to brag on some individuals who served on our diversity panel. One of the things that all of our certified staff went through during our in-service week was the diversity panel that I moderated. And we had several questions that were posed to members of the diversity committee and some other individuals who helped us out. On Thursday, those individuals were Kim Bradford, Rodney Broadnax, Nat Akiona, Jay Garcia, and Chris Alvarez. And then on Friday, that was Barbara Ector, Eric Garner, Yolanda Edwards, Ben Garcia, and Mike Chai. Those individuals were able to share their own personal experiences in relation to diversity. It was a very powerful time for our employees to hear from their colleagues on a variety of questions and issues that were related to diversity. It was well received and was a very powerful time for our staff. So I want to thank those people and share that publicly. We're going to continue to do some additional work with our primary partners, Lee University and UTC, around recruiting diverse students into their programs and improving our pipeline. Then we also want to do some additional work. You've heard of the Grow Your Own initiatives. We're going to do some additional work with Lee and UTC around those options for us. We just recently got some information from UTC related to Grow Your Own, so we're looking to explore that in the future. And then we're going to continue to share and develop some marketing around our district core values and reasons to get folks to come and work in Cleveland City Schools. With that, I would open it to any questions from the board.
Board members, any questions for Mr. Kaiser?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. Well, Arna, you have sat through an incredibly long board meeting. Mostly they're not this long, but we don't meet in July, so we have a lot to catch up on. So we want to welcome you again, and we're looking forward to hearing from you, and I hope you've had a chance to speak to each board member. And if not, they'll probably catch you afterwards. But it is now your turn to give a report.
Well, first I'd like to say thank you for having me on the board. I know I'm going to learn a lot this year with how the board works and just anything. Like, I'm just so curious this year. This is going to be exciting for sure. I'm going to keep my report short because I've been in school for 3.5 days now. So the school year started off great with Reconnection Week really providing like a smooth transition into the school year, and we've had a lot of new students. The freshman class continues to grow. We still have a few students I've heard still enrolling, like in the process of enrolling, and sports are also kicking off this week. We have volleyball, soccer, golf, and football, I believe, having at least 1 or 2 games each this week. And volleyball also has the volleyball showdown at the Sun Sphere this Friday, and several seniors showed up to the senior sunrise last Friday, where we all just enjoyed each other's company to kick off the new year, and we enjoyed some games too. We took a lot of pictures. When I've grown up with several of those people my entire life throughout kindergarten to now, which is crazy to think about, but yeah. Schedules are getting finalized and classes have started, and all the students are just settling back in for the school year. That's all I've got.
All right, do you have homework yet?
Yeah, I did. I had homework on Friday.
Oh, all right.
First
so
full
much
day
for
back.
slowing into school.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for Arna? Well, welcome.
I'll
We're glad
tell
you're
you,
here. Carolyn does.
she started out at Yates.
Of course.
Oh,
Of course.
she did. Then we'll give you all the credit, Carolyn. Okay, very good. Thank you. Charlie, we're going to move on to the site committee, and you can sign that. That's our resolution, but just we'll get it to Andrea.
You can see at the site committee, we approved 3 items there. And Andrew, do we need to put CHS front entrance? It's just got front entrance. I don't know if we need that.
That would be, yeah, that would be great.
CHS don't we?
Yes.
But number 1 was approval of the Education Facilities Master Plan by Don Shell and Brian Templeton, which we all approved. Dr. Dyer approved too. We need to have a vote on that.
Yes. So the motion comes from the site committee. We don't need a second.
And we want to make a motion for the approval of the Long Range Education Facilities Master Plan.
All right. Any questions? Discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Unanimous.
Number 2, we approved the bid on the CHS front entrance and also the CTE entrance. And I'd like to put that up for vote also.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Approval on the purchase or repair of the boys' lockers for the wrestling building. The site committee approved that. I'll put that up for vote.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Very good. That concludes your site report.
Yes.
Let me,
Okay.
what about the plaques for the Hall of Fame? We need to probably vote on that,
Oh,
because you
that's
approved that as a
correct.
motion as well.
That's
I just
right.
happened to see
Thank
that
you.
on here.
Forward in.
Got that.
So that would be
Yeah.
4G4.
Flags.
The College Hill School They closed, and we approved 16 or 17 plaques. And additionally, there'll be 7 or 8 more eventually, I think that's right. And also there'll be a recognition day on August 26th. The site committee approved that also. I put that up for vote.
Okay, any questions on that one? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous. All right, I'm glad you caught that one, Dr. Dyer. We'd have to make Charlie come back and do it
That's
again.
right.
Okay, does anybody else have anything for the board tonight? Dr. Dyer?
I do not.
Well, all right, it's been a long meeting and you all did well, and I can't say see you next month, but we'll see you around. How about that?
Hopefully on the 26th.
And on the 26th of
26th.
August, yeah. And so those of us, I've gotten a few calls from the public. I don't know if they're just ready for me to go away, but they say, when does your term end? So the new board members officially start September 1st, and that's true with new city council, new county commissioners. That's the beginning of their term. So ours ends on August 31st. So if Dr. Dyer needs us before then, Charlie, Tom, me, we're still, we've got a couple weeks. So.
That's right. That's right.
Peggy?
Are we having something Thursday night at the football game? Is there something?
I'll tell you something at the end of the
Okay, all right.
All right, Dr. Dyer, you have anything else?
I do not.
Anybody? All right.
Let
Carolyn.
me say that our fall district meeting is September the 12th at,
Sequatchie.
Sequatchie
Sequatchie
Middle
High
School. So we'll
September
need to,
September 15th, Carolyn.
Dr. Dyer, will you be taking maybe a bus or?
Yeah, I was planning. I was going to ask, but yeah, I'll probably rent a minivan for that drive that
Okay.
day, and we can all ride together if we choose to, or you can drive separately. But we'll plan something for that.
Okay.
It's Central Time.
If you want to.
Yeah.
Central.
Yeah.
It's on Central Time, so we'll have to
Yes.
think through that as well.
All right, we will be adjourned. Have a good evening.